Cameron. I am I've been a teacher for about 4 years now. I currently live in Asahi, Japan. And I'm very excited to take this class. I'm hoping to finish my master's. Yeah, I don't have much to say about myself. I spend a lot of times teaching and a lot of time studying at the moment, whether that's studying Japanese or studying for grad school or studying many of the other things I'm trying to do right now. I've recently picked up ceramics. I did it in college and I want to continue to do it here. So, in this class, we're talking about second language acquisition. What I think is most important for second language acquisition is motivation and follow through. If you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. It doesn't help no matter how much you drill or how intensive classes are. If students aren't feeling motivated and don't care about it, they're not going to put any effort in. And if no effort's put in, you're not going to get anywhere. Even for me, I've been living in Japan for 4 years and I haven't seen a large improvement since moving here. But since moving here, I got diagnosed with a chronic illness. I deal with chronic pain, doing grad school. I have friends and I have family, and these things take time and effort. So does learning a second language. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. And I could see how many people don't have the resources to allocate to learning a second language. I studied Mandarin for 5 years. I recently went to Taiwan, and I could pull up the basics. Like, I'm sorry, or excuse me. And, for travel, to be honest, that's kind of what you need. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. But I didn't use a lot of Mandarin. And I don't use a lot of Mandarin in my daily life. But, yeah. I thought I'd move to Japan, and I thought acquisition over learning would come through and that I would, pick things up quicker. And I really don't think acquisition just for acquisition's sake makes a lot of, does a lot. I think that you have to be in tuned and set aside time. If I spent time and watched movies and had a piece of paper to take notes, those are the things that stick. There are a couple words that I've picked up or a couple grammar phrases I picked up from watching movies or watching TV, but I went, oh wow, that's useful. I figured that out. I put the puzzle pieces together, and now I understand. But if I'm not actively trying to put puzzle pieces together, it just goes over my head. And also, it is a little brain-numbing, acquisition is, right? If I'm doing the dishes and I'm just listening to Japanese, it's kind of a drone. It's a little boring. I'd rather be listening to an audiobook or something I can really understand, and there's not a level of exhaustion or effort put in for listening to English things or talking to people with English in a way where my communication skills in Japanese take a lot of mental effort. And that's why I haven't seen a big improvement, and I need to do that for myself, but also I've got to remember that when I'm teaching my students. A lot of my students are preparing for exams, and their life has been set out in front of them since the age of 14. Getting into my school means that they want to learn English and they want to go to top universities, and they've chosen a competitive route. And I have to keep in mind when I'm teaching them the other things going on in their lives. Most of my students are at school till 7 p.m. They arrive at 8. And then they go home and they do after school, Junko. So I have to be prepared that I'm dealing with students who are sleeping 5 hours a day and studying most of their time, right? So you get very stressed, not connected students. And at least for my kids, fostering enjoyment, and I think this is true for everyone, fostering curiosity and enjoyment of the foreign language is the only way to get anything to stick. So my kids who are good at speaking English, either were forced to learn the language through immersion, they went to an English school in America and they had to pick it up, and or they're passionate about movies or bugs or reading. I had one student, he just loves etymology, and the etymology texts that he wants are in English. So he had to learn English to read about the bugs he wanted to read about. And that gives passion and motivation and allows students to be able to really dive into a foreign language in a way where like students who have to be there don't necessarily. And it's really hard to get students who have to be there interested in anything. I mean, I don't know. I think second language acquisition is very hard. And I think that it needs time. And I think maybe time is the biggest variable, time and motivation. Because like even though I want to learn Japanese, there's just not enough time in the day to spend, even in Japan, to spend that much time even reading Japanese, right? My coworkers speak English. I'm expected to speak English with my students. The Japanese I use in class is very minuscule. Like it's not a lot. Or maybe in different circumstances, I would progress more. But I totally understand why my students who don't see a reason to learn English, have no interest in anything that is like in English, and don't want to interact with the outside world, would find English, like wouldn't devote that much time to it, and why there's not a big improvement. But I generally do think that acquisition does better than drills and grammar, because like a lot of the students I have been learning English since the age of 6. They're 16 now. It's 10 years of English education, and they have a hard time stringing together a full sentence. And so I think motivation is a big part of it. Yeah, and I also think like thinking about acquisition and having the input of the language is very important. And I think a lot of the students I deal with have no input, and they don't want any input, which my job is to make the input interesting. My favorite little like cheat code is to show like the first 10 minutes or the first 15 minutes of a movie and leave it off at a cliffhanger, so they have to go home and finish the movie on their own time. And a lot of students do, but doing things where like, oh yeah, I can talk about my summer in English. I mean, I usually don't like to do summer. I know translation methods don't necessarily work, but I usually like to find them events or find them something that they are excited about, and then they have to share about it in English. Whether that's like a local event or translating a local newspaper to share with other people. That's my goal in my class. I hope that we have a wonderful time this semester. I'm very excited, a little worried. I'm a little bit of a slow reader, so hopefully, yeah, it'll be a good semester. Yay! Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.